If your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player performance.
Hello and welcome to Wailu's Player Performance Soccer Edition. I'm your host, Noel Tate, and with us, as always, is our resident analyst, Neil Mack. Neil, how are you?
Very well. Good to be here again. We had a nice Champions League final to get us rolling on these, so hopefully we can make some more money for the Club World Cup now.
Yep, nice profitable show. We've had a little break and now we're back, as you said, for the Club World Cup. This is the first time this Club World Cup competition has been in this format. It's almost like it is like the same as a World Cup format, as a classic World Cup format. We've got our group stages into the knockouts, 32 teams. It's going to be a big tournament, last nearly a month or just a few days shy of a month. So
it's crazy.
Just like the Champions League final, we want to make a little bit of money for this. We've got a lot to get through. So I think we might just jump straight into the opening markets.
Keep the viewers waiting.
Okay, so opening markets. We have Real Madrid, Man City, and PSG are the market favourites. How are you feeling about this market?
I do like Real Madrid for a few reasons. You know, firstly, they're dead serious about this competition because of the horrible campaign they had. They lost La Liga to Barcelona. They got dumped out of the Champions League by Arsenal. They're trophyless. I mean, pretty much, unless you're counting the Super Cup, which isn't really a major trophy. So Real Madrid, they've brought in Xabi Alonso, one of the highest rated coaches in the world. Tactically, I think he's a lot more adept than Carlo Ancelotti. And then they brought in signings. They brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool. They actually paid $10 million just to get him released in time for this competition. They brought in the centre-back Dean Howson from Bournemouth, very highly rated. They should be getting back some players from injury. So I'm pretty high on Real Madrid here. They are a great cup team, you know, especially against some knockout rounds. That they know how to get it done. They're used to the big games. Then we have PSG, who I think in some places are actually favourites. I would not be backing PSG to win this tournament because they won their holy grail, the Champions League. That was the tournament that they've been seeking. As well, like a lot of their players were even involved in the UEFA Nations League, the semi-finals and the finals. Like they've got 4 or 5 Portuguese players that were involved there in that final. They're going to be celebrating that.
Yeah.
Just with the long season, PSG are going to want a break. I mean, they've done it all. I don't think they're that motivated for this competition. And then as for Man City, you could build a case for Man City, especially with Rodri coming back from injury. But I think this Manchester City team still has issues. They're going to be in a transition. There's a lot of players that even Pep Guardiola wants to offload. You know, Kevin De Bruyne, he's going to be moving on to Napoli, it seems. And it's kind of a rebuild is going to be happening at Manchester City. So at the current lines, I'm not interested in Manchester City.
Yeah, it is hard to look at them after the inconsistent season they've had, and they have to have 7 good games here to win this one. So it's hard to see them do that.
Yeah.
And then I was looking through the groups yesterday. There's some interesting groups there. It is kind of like your World Cup. You'll have the big dogs against a few underdogs in there. And I was looking at Bruceia Dortmund's group. So Dortmund had kind of a quiet season because the German league was kind of wrapped up pretty early. There was nothing kind of interesting going on there. But they've got a very easy group. So could Bruceia Dortmund potentially be a dark horse? And do you have any other dark horses for us that would keep us interested?
Borussia Dortmund do have a very easy group. Who do they have? They have Fluminense of Brazil. They have Ulsan of Korea. They're a very weak team. And then Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, who are kind of a underrated side. But yeah, Borussia Dortmund should be winning all 3 games here, winning the group with ease. My issue with Borussia Dortmund being a dark horse is that I looked at the draw earlier. I think they might be, they like if it plans out, they would meet Real Madrid in the quarterfinals. So I would fancy Real Madrid to get past them. But maybe a play on Bruceia Dortmund to reach the quarterfinals could be worthwhile.
Yeah.
But yeah, outright, Dortmund are a little bit too short for me. I think they were about 25 to 1. So yeah, just because they meet Real Madrid, I wouldn't be interested in Dortmund.
Yeah, it's going to be so if they do top that group, it's going to be a tough draw for them to make it to the final.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's very hard to know exactly how it's going to play out, but that's the most likely scenario.
Okay. Right, so on to one of my favorite bets. I always have one or two of these on for any big tournament. It's the top goal scorer. There's obviously a huge amount of players here to choose from, including Messi in there. I think he's around 20 to 1. What's your take on the top goal scorer market? Who should we be looking out for? Is somebody going to net a double hat trick against a whipping boy here?
Yeah, I mean, it could happen. I'm leaning towards the group that has Auckland FC in it. We talked just before we went on air how Auckland are really out of their depth here. They're the champions representing Oceania. They're not even close to being able to compete with even the teams from Asia. And from what I understand, Auckland are regulars in this tournament. They often represent this region. But from what I understand, this version of Auckland is even worse. It is like the worst team that they've had in the past decade. So I think the potential there for the teams like Bayern Munich and Benfica to run up the score against them, and I'm talking big scores, leads me to a couple of top goal scorer picks. So this one I actually gave out on Instagram a few days ago. It's Evangelos Pavlidis from Benfica. Now, he's a penalty taker for Benfica. He is their top goal scorer. He's very consistent. Benfica, I would expect to get out of the group behind Bayern Munich. They could potentially win the group as well. So yeah, he's actually 50 to 1. I think that's a great price. If Benfica get going early, they could run up the score 6-7, 8-0, who knows. And then once they get into the knockout rounds, Benfica are like a very established team. I mean, they went toe to toe with Barcelona in the Champions League. They're not mugs. They will compete even with the best. So that's one. Pavlidis 50 to 1.
They're definitely a good tournament team. They've got a few upsets under the belt already. Yeah,
great pedigree. Always competitive. So another outsider that I kind of like. I think he was about 33 to 1, or 25 to 1 maybe. Julian Alvarez for Atletico Madrid. Now, Atletico Madrid, they also went trophyless. They're pretty motivated for this tournament.
Yep.
They are in the group with PSG, but like we said about PSG, I don't think the motivation is going to be there. I think Atletico Madrid can win their group easily enough. The other two teams in Atletico's group, Botafogo and Seattle Sounders, they should be winning those games with relative ease. So yeah, Julian Alvarez, he's one. And then my kind of square play from one of the favourites is Harry Kane, obviously. Bayern Munich don't have anybody else at centre forward. He's likely going to play a lot. He's on penalties. He's lethal. He's consistent. And Bayern Munich, of course, can go all the way to the final. So Harry Kane was plus 700 for top goal scorer. He's going to be there or thereabouts. So happy to play him too.
He had a very big season, and he's going to want another trophy. There's all the jokes about Harry Kane never winning a trophy.
Finally got that trophy.
He finally got one. He'll want the second one before the season wraps up.
Well, like I heard this. I seen this on Twitter, and somebody said, winning the title with Bayern Munich is the same as losing your virginity with a prostitute. So. Fair enough.
Good old Harry.
You mentioned Messi. You mentioned Messi there, and I wouldn't be touching that. I think he's about 20 to 1. Inter Miami. I got some stick for this on Instagram, but they actually shouldn't be at this tournament. FIFA kind of gave them a back door because of Messi. So usually it's the winner of the MLS Cup. So you the team that actually wins the playoffs, they got knocked out in the playoffs. FIFA made up some award, gave them I think it's called the Supporters Cup, the team that finishes the regular season on the most points. So yeah, it's kind of a bit dodgy, and I will get stick for saying this, but I don't think they should be here.
No, it's not yet normal to link FIFA with something dodgy, is it? That doesn't happen.
No, they're definitely not doing this for money.
No.
So yeah, just touching on Messi just before we move on.
Yeah.
FIFA absolutely want Inter Miami and Messi to be in this tournament and to make it to the later rounds. So don't be surprised. I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but don't be surprised if Inter Miami get a lot of penalties. So yeah, Messi will get a few.
That there might be some secret lines there. Miami to get a penalty in each game. Not nice thing about this tournament is we have 8 like mini tournaments, eight groups to get through before we get to the knockout stages. Any big tournament like this, there's always a few surprises. Do we see any underdogs having a chance here to win any of these groups, to maybe snatch a win they shouldn't have got?
Absolutely no. So I'll just run through the groups quickly. Group A is wide open, okay? So we've got Palmeiras, Porto, Al Ahly, and Inter Miami. Palmeiras, for me, are the strongest team in this group. The Brazilian side, I'll have them winning the group. Al Ahly of Egypt are also being underrated here. They're regulars at this tournament. They can play at a high level against anybody. So I think they're plus 225 to qualify. That's one of the plays that I like for this tournament. Moving on to Group B, I don't see many surprises there. That's PSG, Atletico Madrid are both going to qualify. Even with PSG's low motivation, they'll get through. Group C, absolutely Bayern Munich and Benfica will be the ones to qualify. So no surprises there. Group D, I can actually see Flamengo of Brazil topping that group ahead of Chelsea. Chelsea are too inconsistent for me.
Yeah.
And then the other 2 teams in the group, I think it's LA Galaxy and Esperance Tunis of Tunisia. So yeah, Flamengo to win that group. That's going to be an upset. I think you can get good money on that. Group E is okay. Yeah, so we've got Inter Milan here. Inter Milan are going to be another team to oppose. They lost their manager, Simone Inzaghi, after the Champions League final. He's left. He's gone to Saudi.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in a new manager. Going to be a bit of a transition. This team is old and they're tired. Grueling season. Really grueling. We talked about it in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Saying that, Inter should qualify, along with River Plate. The other 2 teams in this group, especially Urawa Reds of Japan, are very weak, and then Monterrey of Mexico, really not a great side. So I have Inter River qualifying there, no surprises. Group F, we've got Bruceia Dortmund should be winning 9 or picking up 9 points there. They'll top the group, but I like the South African side, Mamelodi Sundowns. I think they're plus 500 to qualify.
Mamelodi Sundowns. We'll have to touch on them a bit because most people, including me till a few days ago, had never heard of this team. Yeah. Why do you fancy these?
Well, firstly, they are one of the best sides in Africa. They've won the Champions League recently, I believe. But one metric I like to use for these types of competitions is the squad value. And I was looking through the squads, and this Mamelodi Sundowns team has a lot of South American players, a lot of good players. Their squad value is close to $40 million. So I don't know who's bankrolling this team, but they can play. And we talked about the prize money for this tournament is absolutely massive. For a team like Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa, where TV revenues probably not that high, they're going to give everything. So yeah, I like them to qualify. They're a dark horse, really, truly. They're being really underrated by the bookmakers. So I'd look for them. I'd look to back them in their matches as well. Okay. Then moving on to Group G, we've got Man City. They should coast in that group. They should win, and then Juventus finishing second. No surprises. Group H, Real Madrid will coast. Al Hilal of Saudi Arabia. Now they've got new manager Inzaghi from Inter. They're spending big. I think they're bringing in Victor Osimhen, who a lot of Premier League teams were after. I think he signed already, but they already have a star-studded lineup. They have Mitrovic, they have Milinkovic-Savic. They have a really good squad. So they're going to finish second, no doubt. And,
So Al Hilal to qualify. So top 2 qualify. So we're saying to qualify, not necessarily to win the group. Yeah.
yeah, to qualify. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I see the groups shaping up, and yeah,
Okay.
I've given the viewers some idea of some of the underdogs worth backing.
Yeah, I can definitely see a lot of that coming true. Like the Flamengo example over Chelsea. Chelsea, like City, have had a very inconsistent season, so it's hard to see them.
Yeah, really. Like
doing
I'm not a
enough
big fan of Chelsea.
Okay, so we're talking earlier on about some of the niche markets here. What have you got on that side of things?
There was one that stood out, and it was this Korean side, Ulsan HD. They're really, really poor. So in the latest edition of the AFC Champions League, they kind of have a league format as well. Ulsan HD, they finished, I think it was second last. Their squad value is really low. I mean, they don't have anybody. They have, I mean, even from the Korean players in their team, I don't know any of them. So I like Ulsan HD to be the lowest scoring team in the competition. This is a tricky market, but it's priced at 20-1. Just the fact that they're one of the weakest teams in the competition, I'd be happy to play that. There was a couple of other niche markets, wasn't there?
Yeah,
so I like.
Yeah, we were looking at to reach the quarters, and I think we touched on some of that earlier on.
That was one.
Yeah.
So to reach the quarterfinals, there was one in particular, wasn't there? Bruceia Dortmund.
Yeah.
So this is actually going to be a fairly big play for me. Like we said, Bruceia Dortmund will coast in that group. They will win. They should win 3 of 3 games. They're in Group F, so they're going to face off with the runners-up of Group E, which would likely be River Plate. I mean, it's likely going to be River Plate. I can't see the Mexican side, Monterrey or Urawa Reds, finishing second there. That's a very, very winnable game for Borussia Dortmund. So, like the Argentinian teams, like it for somebody that doesn't watch a lot of South American football, like the Brazilian teams are way above the Argentinian sides. I think it has a lot to do with investment. But River Plate they're going to struggle. I mean, they're a good side, but they're going to struggle, especially against a European titan like Borussia Dortmund. So Borussia Dortmund can be picked up at plus 100 to make the quarterfinals. That's a 2-unit play for me. I mean, that is a fantastic bet, in my opinion. One everybody should be on.
Okay. And then we touched a few minutes ago on the lowest scoring team with Ulsan. What about the highest scoring team? Who do we fancy there, especially with some of these really, really weak teams in their groups?
For the highest scoring team, we're going to be looking at. I mean, you could look at the group with Auckland FC, but Manchester City actually appealed. I think they're about 3-1. Could be 3-1, I think, or 4-1 maybe in some places. So Manchester City have a pretty handy group. The only challenge there really is Juventus. So they've got Wydad Casablanca from Africa and Al Ain from UAE. Now Al Ain they're a side that won the Asian Champions League. I think it was last season. They've been on a downward trajectory ever since. I think they finished last in the most recent Asian Champions League. So again, that's a match where Man City have the potential to run up the score. Pep Guardiola, he I don't know if you remember like a couple of these games, maybe in the FA Cup where they're playing a lesser side and they're like 5-0 up. Pep Guardiola does not like his teams to take the foot off. He's a flat track bully. You know, he wants to go for the jugular and like run up the score. So in those games against Wydad Casablanca and Al Ain, the potential's there. So yeah, I like Man City, and then obviously they can easily go all the way if they have a good tournament. So yeah, Manchester City, high scoring team. I think it was plus 300. Not sure about that price.
Okay. And then big tournament like this, we have teams from every continent in this tournament. can we look past any of the European teams here? Like, is it just a case of whittling it down to the final few European teams, or is there any maybe a South American team that could surprise everybody and lift this?
One angle here would be the fact that the Brazilian, the South American sides are, I think, about 20 games deep into their domestic campaign, which means they're going to be a lot fresher than the European sides who are coming off a grueling season. So yeah, there's the two Brazilian sides, the higher performance sides, Palmeiras and Flamengo, are dark horses in my opinion. They could, I mean, it would be a big ask for them to win the competition, but I can see both of them going deep potentially. The Asian sides, not a chance. Al Hilal will make the knockout rounds. They will make the round of 16, but I believe they're going to meet Manchester City if they finish second. So that's as far as their journey will go. As for the rest, they won't qualify, in my opinion. Asia's representatives, not looking great. Africa, we've got Al Ali of Egypt, very experienced at this stage. Like the Egyptian national team, just tough, physical, and grind out results. They could be a surprise package. Mamelodi Sundowns, I can't speak highly enough about them and how much they've been underrated. So they're a team I'm going to be keeping my eye on. And then the North American sides, like the Mexican sides, I don't think any of them are going to qualify. Inter Miami might, because FIFA wants Messi in the later rounds. But yeah, keep your eye out for their opponents getting red cards. Inter Miami get lots of penalties. Let's see what happens. Because, I mean, Inter Miami, like, they're at their physical peak. I mean, all the old Barcelona players, Luis Suarez has admitted that, like, he can't walk anymore. He gets him in the morning, he can't walk. So he's taken, like, heavy pain medication just for every game. And Messi's obviously still great, okay? But he doesn't have the supporting cast. He's got Busquets. He's too old.
Alba's playing.
Another Barcelona player. So yeah, and they're actually playing pretty poorly too. So yeah, Al Hilal from the rest of the world, Al Hilal, Inter Miami, they can make the later rounds, and Mamelodi Sundowns, in my opinion, and then the Brazilian sides.
Yeah. Okay, so we touched earlier on the prize money for the winners here, which is 120 million. The total purse here is it close to $1 billion? When you take everything into account,
so, like, for perspective, the Champions League I think is 180 million, and just to win this tournament, it's 120 million. So
yeah, it's
a big deal.
How much is that going to play a factor here? Like, have you got, like, there's some of the weaker teams here? They're playing for a sandwich just to keep the club finances going. It's an early Simpsons reference for anybody who doesn't know. Are they fighting for a sandwich? Like, is this going to be a big enough driver to get some of these smaller teams to up their performance and give us some big shots?
It's going to be a huge motivator, in my opinion. Teams like the African sides, not to be disrespectful, but their TV revenue money is not great. If they can, I mean, you're getting prize money for wins as well in the group stage. So, I mean, there's a lot on the line. Maybe not so much motivation for the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Al Hilal, PSG, but the African sides, I can see being pretty hungry for this.
Okay, and then I know. Sorry, we've touched a lot on the Mamelodi Sundowns here. We've touched a lot on. Is there any other African or Asian prospects that we could that might surprise us that we should keep an eye out for?
I mean, Esperance Tunis are kind of an unknown package, in my opinion. Same as Wydad Casablanca. These are teams that are probably going to be very strict defensively and look to grind out results. But apart from what I've touched on, I don't really see them staying competitive. I really don't. But who knows? You always get a surprise package. It's the same in the World Cup. We're going to get a team like Esperance Tunis winning one of the groups. It always happens.
Yeah. Or like the European Championships, Greece or in Iceland surprising everybody, and
it would be great. It would be great, like, as well, if we get to the knockout rounds and it's not just like the European heavyweights. If there is some mix there.
No, I'm definitely going to be rooting for a lot of the underdogs in this one. Okay, we've gone a little bit over time, so we'll give you a few minutes. Let's just wrap up what we've got. What are our official lines for this one?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot. So I'll start with Real Madrid outright plus 400. This is a 2-unit play. Top goal scorers, we've got Pavlidis at 50-1. This is half a unit play. Julian Alvarez, top goal scorer, 33-1. This is going to be a half unit play as well. Harry Kane plus 700, top goal scorer, 1 unit play. We've got Al Ali from Group A to qualify. That's plus 225. That's a 1 unit play. Mamelodi Sundowns to qualify, plus 500 as a 1 unit play. Atletico Madrid to win their group over PSG, plus 180 is a fantastic bet. I'm going to go 2 units on that. Flamengo as well to win their group. We mentioned Chelsea's inconsistency, so Flamengo are plus 275 to win their group. 1 unit play, another fantastic value play. Al Hilal to qualify at plus 125. This is my biggest play of this episode. I don't see any scenario where Al Hilal don't qualify, especially this being a Saudi bankrolls tournament. They're going to want to have a representative in the later round. So Al Hilal to qualify, plus 125, 4 units.
It's 4 units.
Ulsan HD of Korea, the lowest scoring team, 20-1. Dortmund to make the quarterfinals, plus 100, 2 units. And finally, Manchester City, the highest scoring team, plus 300, a 1 unit play.
Okay.
And that's everything.
So there's a lot to keep track of there. So we're going to have that in the
we'll put that in the show notes in
the description below. So just scroll down, you'll be able to see that. And then I think that's everything we wanted to get through. So thanks everybody for tuning in again. If you like this episode, just subscribe to the channel, and then let us know your opinion as well. So leave a comment down below with who you think. Have we missed anything? Do you disagree with us on anything? Just throw your comments in there and we'll be happy to jump in and keep the discussion going.
Yeah, good to get the discussion going because, we're both online and we're happy to answer any questions any of you might have.
Yeah. Okay, Neil, until next time. I think that's us. Thank you very much.
It's been great. See you next time.
Take care.
Take care.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.